X-Men versus Avengers, Avengers versus X-Men. There's always been fighting between the two of them. Who's better? Who ain't? Why are they fighting? A brief history of X-Men versus Avengers. Be real with D-Real. What up, what up, what up, what up? Realists. It's your man D-Real, the Black Panthers talking urban jungle, and Vibranium Indeed is bringing you another Be Real with D-Real. What's going on, y'all? X-Men, Avengers, two of the most popular teams in all of Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics seems to have this thing where no matter what's going on, they always find a way to make superheroes fight each other. And X-Men and the Avengers have had quite a few skirmishes over the years. I am going to touch on the four most significant conflicts that the X-Men and the Avengers have had over their 50 plus year history. The first conflict between the Avengers and the X-Men took place in Avengers number 53, way back in 1968. Basically, Magneto, when he was still like a really super nasty villain, forced Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, who during this continuity were former members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and Magneto was forcing them to join back up with his Brotherhood, even though they didn't want to. The Avengers, on the other hand, are coming to help their allies, and the X-Men are coming to deal with Magneto. Yet Magneto finds a way to twist that situation and say something like, my evil mutants crushed the Avengers. Okay, so here's the lineup in 1968 of X-Men and Avengers. That lineup of X-Men is getting washed by that lineup of Avengers. You've got Goliath, Hawkeye, Black Panther. Goliath, Hawkeye, and Black Panther could probably take that group of Avengers by themselves. We probably don't even need the Wasp. You know what I mean? Basically, that's what happened in this comic. The young, inexperienced X-Men were outclassed by the more experienced group of superheroes at that time. So we chalked that one up to inexperience on the X-Men part, and so they end up getting dusted. All right. The next major conflict between the X-Men and the Avengers takes place in the X-Men versus the Avengers 4-issue miniseries that came out in 1987. Now, in the late 80s, Professor Xavier has convinced Magneto to become the head of his school. Okay, so the only people privy to this information are Xavier, Magneto, and his students. Nobody told the Avengers. Nobody told the rest of the Earth. So as far as we're concerned, Magneto is a criminal hiding out with mutants, and those mutants could potentially be criminals too. That's kind of the way the X-Men were regarded, feared and hated by a world that doesn't understand them, yet they continue to fight for it. Anywho, the X-Men were coming to bring Magneto in, to bring him to justice. The X-Men, however, have realized Magneto's turned over a new leaf, or it seems like Magneto's turned over a new leaf, and he's on the side of the Angels. And so the X-Men opt to defend him from the Avengers. Again, the X-Men are outclassed power-wise. Okay, you got the likes of Thor, the Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, the Black Knight, and the Wasp. That's outclassing the current roster of and Captain America. And that's kind of outclassing the current roster of Magneto, Storm, Wolverine, Rogue, and Havoc. Now, not to say that X-Men team is a pushover team, because they're definitely not, but we also have the intervention of the Soviet super soldiers. This is a government-funded team of superheroes who work for state. Yes. Anyway, we got Titanium Man, Crimson Dynamo, Dark Star, and Ursa Major. Add that on to, you already got the Avengers on your bumper. So they're a little bit outclassed in that fight too. However, the X-Men get Magneto to one of his bases where he has this technology that he can put into his helmet, and he's able to brainwash people into thinking that mutants are great, they're cool, they're fine, they're not bad. And he decides the first person he's going to use that device on is Captain America. When he uses his device on Cap, he finds out Cap doesn't have hate towards any group except maybe Nazis. And so finding out, oh my goodness, I've been wrong. Could I have been wrong about, my assessment of humans and mutants? And so Magneto ends up surrendering to the Avengers to face whatever justice it is that he needs to face. And so it's a physical W for the Avengers, but it's kind of a strategic win for the X-Men, even though it kind of sets human mutant relations back when we find out, oh, Magneto's got this and Magneto's got that, because he actually uses the device to get out of whatever it is the world courts had cooked up for him. Okay. Enter the next major, Donnybrook, with between the X-Men and the Avengers. And it actually isn't the mainstream X-Men and Avengers. It's actually the Ultimate Universe, Earth 1610, where we have, for similar reasons, the Ultimates or Avengers facing off against the X-Men because they're harboring Magneto, who in that universe also is a known criminal. There are a lot of one-on-one battles, but not really any all-out, okay, X-Men versus Avengers head-to-head type of thing. But once again, not only are the X-Men outclassed by the Ultimates, this universe's Avengers has no compunctions against fighting dirty. And faced with this gangsterific take no prisoners attitude of the Ultimates, I would hazard to say X-Men take yet another L. But then in their most recent battle, the tables have turned somewhat. We get Avengers versus X-Men, a huge crossover event that has not one, not two, not three, not four, but five. Count them, 5 different writers: Brian Michael Bendis, Matt Fraction, Jason Aaron, Ed Brubaker, and Jonathan Hickman. That's the who's who of who's writing what that's good. And drawn by comic book royalty, John Romita Jr. and Adam Kubert, the Romita and Kubert families, when it comes to drawing. Enough said. And Oliver Coipel, I think I said that right, is in on the drawing duties as well. And it's a 12-issue I don't know how many ever comic books that the Avengers and X-Men had in 2012. I know there was Avengers Academy, Secret Avengers, Avengers, Mighty Avengers. There were a lot of Avengers comic books, and there have always been like 4 or 5 X-Men titles. So this ran concurrently through the main series, the one-on-one battles series, and the X-Men and the Avengers respective comics. What was this story about, pray tell? Um, the Phoenix Force was drawn to Earth, and the Avengers find out about it. And they're like, oh, this Phoenix Force could be a problem for us because this Phoenix Force might bolster the mutant numbers, which were recently dwindled with the with Scarlet Witch and the House of M stuff. And this mutant by the name of Hope Summers is in the under the protection of the X-Men because she is going to be the recipient of the Phoenix Force. The Avengers don't want a recipient of the Phoenix Force on the Earth. So Tony Stark, in his infinite smarts, bear in mind, Tony Stark, with his infinite smarts, finds a way to disperse the Phoenix Force, but he doesn't disperse the Phoenix Force. He merely separates it into 5 smaller entities, the Phoenix 5. So, Magic, Namor, Colossus, Cyclops, and Emma Frost all inherit a portion of the Phoenix Force. Now, the X-Men and the Avengers are already squaring off fighting against each other. X-Men are kind of overpowered, outmatched in some battles, because this battle is the largest group of X-Men and Avengers ever to face off to date. I mean, just off-brand mutants like, oh yeah, I want a piece of this. I want in on this. Avengers who haven't been Avengers for years is like, oh, we fighting an army of X-Men. Let's go. Let's get it. There was excitement. There was adventure. There was romance. There was divorce. This is the thing I hated most about AVX. Storm and the Black Panther ended up getting a divorce behind this BS. You know, and one Phoenix imbued mutant is enough to take on 10 Avengers, and you got 5 of them. And so those Phoenix 5 dwindled the Avengers' numbers down greatly. Ultimately, all of the power ended up residing in Cyclops. Cyclops ended up having it out with Professor X. He ended up killing Professor X. Oh my goodness. But ultimately, Cyclops ends up getting put in jail, overpowered. So who won that battle? I don't know. Everybody suffered. I don't think there was a clear winner. I think when the mutants finally got pissed off enough and said enough is enough, we tired of taking these ass whoopings from the Avengers, we get ready to go Phoenix on it. You know, first time Wakanda gets destroyed. Colossus is fighting with the power of the Juggernaut, so that makes him a much tougher customer than he would be with just the power of Colossus. Wolverine's kind of a double, triple agent. You know, I'm an Avenger, but I'm an X-Men first. But hey, wait a minute, I'm an Avenger too. So that there was a lot going on in this Avengers versus X-Men battle. What was your favorite X-Men versus Avengers battle? Avengers versus X-Men battle. Which one did you like the least? Which one do you think had writer bias? You know, because that happens sometimes too. Put all that down in the comments below. And as always, I will continue to bring you fascinating, interesting material. Edutainment is what it's all about. Keeping y'all up on game and having fun while we're doing it. This has been Be Real with D Real. I'll be back with another one like DJ Khaled. And until then, y'all be good to each other.